The first thing I see most people try to do as soon as they transition into XR UX design from traditional 2D design is to go straight to tools. Usually they're traditional 2D UI tools, such as Figma. They'll design the entire experience in 2D and then plop it into a 3D environment. Or they'll stop at Figma and never test anything in a headset. At best, this results in an almost completely 2D experience within a 3D virtual space. At worst, if you're not testing your design within an actual headset, you'll end up with something that's completely unusable. Sticking with your 2D tools doesn't take advantage of the technology. It doesn't consider the possibilities of rethinking how we compute. Although there is still a need for 2D UI panels, that should not be your first go-to solution. You need to challenge yourself to think of new ways of interacting with digital space. In order to do that, you need to understand the capabilities of the current technology, as well as its limitations. You also need to understand the different ways of moving around within the virtual world, the pros and cons of each type of locomotion, and the best practices for when to use which type of locomotion. Also, designing interaction elements for a 3D virtual space has unique challenges that are different than traditional flat 2D screens that have a set frame as a boundary. This means instead of just plopping traditional 2D UI elements into 3D space, we need to think spatially, using the real world as our inspiration for how we interact with the virtual world. And much like with the real world, we still rely on body language and other visual cues when we're interacting with other people within the virtual worlds. Even though we're seeing a digital representation of each other, our subconscious minds still expect that same behaviors that we experience in the real world. There's a neuroscience behind this that you need to understand to create better experiences and to help people feel emotionally and socially safe. And input methods are the different ways that people are able to interact with the virtual world. This can be through devices such as controllers or through other methods such as hand gestures. It's in your best interest to understand the pros and cons of each so that you can help clients make more informed decisions on their hardware choices. It will also help you know what to look out for when you're creating solutions for those input methods. And that's where my content comes in. It will lay part of the foundational knowledge of UX best practices for XR that you'll need when you're creating your own experiences. You can click on the screen right now to learn more about interacting with digital space in XR. See y'all later.